Welcome to the Modern Nomad Podcast. If you question your current reality and want to escape the 9-to-5 grind, then this is the show for you. And now your host, me. What is up, and welcome to the Modern Nomad Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Kennedy, and this is episode 1 of something I think will be an incredible addition to the nomadic community, because we're going to be interviewing a bunch of different nomads, travelers, anybody who's out there working off of their laptop, traveling, doing whatever they want, whenever they want. We're going to find out what they do in their life, how they do it, how can they afford to do it, as well as have some fun in the process. So today we're actually going to be talking about myself, figuring out who I am and what I do and where I came from, because everything in my entire life has changed in the past few months. So I'm what everyone considers a serial entrepreneur. I haven't worked for anybody other than myself for the past 10 years. I started my first business at 23, which was a CrossFit style gym. Started it out of my one-car garage of a house that I was renting here in Tulsa. Moved to a 1,200 square foot building shortly after that. Grew it way too quick, and then basically busted at the seams after 2 months. Had to figure out how to make that work for another 10 months on the lease. Eventually moved into an 8,000 square foot facility, which I was there for, I think, 8 years. And I just recently sold that gym in April of 2022. So everything's kind of fresh in my mind as to like being an entrepreneur, what I'm doing when it comes to business, and what I want to do in the future. The serial entrepreneur part is I've had a couple other businesses, one being that Inkbox screen printing and design. That's why I always have Inkbox apparel on. So I had a partner in that one, did it for a couple of years, grew that up, and had a couple differences in opinions with my partner, still my best friend, but we had to split ways. So I took my 50%, he took his, he's still running it. And with that money, I ended up buying a van. So if you guys don't know, I am converting a van. I've been doing that for the past like 6 or 7 months, and I do it a little differently than you would think a lot of people do. So most people do the boho chic style, wood grains and everything, but I'm super modern. That's why this podcast is called The Modern Nomad, because I love the finer things in life. I am bougie. I will admit it. I say I like the nicer things, but I'm saying I like one thing, and it better be the nicest if I'm going to get it. So that's a little bit of a brief background on me and my entrepreneurial endeavors. Let me talk about what got me into the nomadic lifestyle. So when you work for somebody else, working that 9-to-5 grind, you are designated to be there for a specific amount of time, unless you're like salary and you just kind of come and go whenever you need to and just get your stuff done. But when you're on that 9-to-5 grind, you really are thinking about, what can I do somewhere else? When's the next vacation? I only get 1 to 2 weeks vacation. I really can't do anything. And so that's one reason I started building businesses, because I thought that was going to give me more time to actually move into the things that I was passionate about, such as traveling. And then I quickly realized that owning a business means instead of working 9 to 5, you end up working 24/7. So I would wake up 4 a.m., go straight to the gym, start coaching classes, go to the coffee shop, finish some emails, be there for a few hours, then I'd go work out myself, come back, coach a couple lunch classes, go back home, eat lunch, go do a couple other things that I needed to get done, such as door knocking or going around and like making sure everyone knew that gemology was in the area, coach some classes in the evening, and then get home at 9 o'clock. So instead of a 9 to 5, it was a 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then when I got home, I had to enter in workouts. I had to make sure my client relations were going well. So I ended up not going to sleep till nearly midnight. So it was basically a 4 a.m. to midnight kind of grind. And I realized that quickly, probably after a couple years of owning the business, that was not going to be what I wanted to do. But then I ended up staying in the business for several years because of the people that I was very passionate coaching for. The people that I loved seeing every day. The only thing is I was running myself into the ground, and my clients and friends realized that and forced me to go onto a vacation, which then led me to figure out that traveling is actually what I wanted to do, because that vacation, out of a whim, I booked a flight, solo trip to Hawaii. I went there for 10 days, and I did not want to come back because my cup was empty. I'm telling you, there was absolutely no battery left in my processor. There was nothing going on. But as soon as I got to Hawaii, I relaxed for a day, and then I figured, let's go to the beach. I went to the beach. I surfed every single day for about 3 to 4 hours. I did everything that I wanted to. I didn't have a schedule. I went there with no plan, and I ended up having the best time of my life. I hiked 4 mountains. I ended up swimming every single day. I walked around and did anything that I wanted to, and that's one of the reasons that solo traveling, or just any type of traveling I wanted to do, because this was a passion of mine. So it took about 3 more years to actually get the guts to sell the gym. It was a really hard thing to do, but I did it. And another thing that led me to the sell, I was in a relationship that wasn't good. It was a physically abusive relationship, and a woman can hit a man, and it is still abuse. Like, yes, she's 5 foot tall, I'm 6 foot tall, and I weigh twice her weight, but it's still physical abuse. Never lay your hands on anybody, and it just got to the point that I could not take anymore. Every single day, I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be at the gym. I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to get away. And so when I sold the screen printing company, I purchased the van with all hopes that this was going to be the final escape. I was finally going to do something. I was going to get out of this town. I will never see it again. And then we broke up, which was a very hard breakup. Physical abuse, any type of abuse, that is the hardest thing to walk away from. And it was such a release and such peace as soon as she left the house. I had the van. At this time, I think I was on TikTok with maybe 4,000 followers. So I was just having some fun. Like, it wasn't too serious. I was just building a van. Didn't even think to sell the gym yet. But then the landlord of that building ended up telling me that he was going to raise the rent another $1,000 each month. So that was $12,000 more a year, which is ridiculous. Because if you think about it, most gyms make enough to get by, and they make enough to pay the coaches. They make enough to pay yourself, and it's not enough to pay $12,000 more a year towards a building. And so I tried to figure out what I was going to do, and then I had a video blow up on TikTok, and finally I hit like 50,000 subscribers, and I was on cloud 9, and I could see the end of this tunnel because my van was getting closer to being finished. I had some brand deals coming in. I was making money on TikTok. I was making money on Instagram now, and I was like, this could actually be something. So I had to figure out a couple other options in order financially to escape the gym. But then I sat down, did some numbers on how much I could sell the gym, if I sold all the equipment, how much I would make. And it ended up going that route to where I ended up selling everything that I owned. I made enough money to survive. I made enough money to finish the van. I made enough money to get me to my next path, which is where I am today. And so today I'm starting a podcast. So this is going to be a future revenue source for myself. I'm going to have brand deals on here. I'm going to continue to do my TikTok, which is going to have brand deals. I get paid monthly from TikTok views, Instagram views, YouTube pays. I get paid through all those things, but it's now time to figure out the next move as to what business I want to run. So when I'm running a business, now it has to be online. I tried to do online fitness training. I made quite a bit of money, but I did not like it. I was not passionate about it. And I want to find a business that I'm passionate about it, which is usually now going to be the content creation. So I've put out like some media advertising kind of things, trying to get clients into helping them grow their social media accounts, do their emailing lists, and do a bunch of things for these companies. And it's just getting started. So I've had some hits back, and I haven't really done anything that is significant yet, which is exactly why I wanted to start this podcast, because I have these questions about what other entrepreneurial nomads do, what people do for work when they're traveling full time. If you're traveling full time, are you actually able to work? Can you just do it from the computer? Can you do it from the beach? Can you do it from anywhere? That's the real thing about being a nomad that interests me, is because I want to be working in Bali one day, sitting on a computer in the middle of paradise. That's what I want to do. I want to be back in Hawaii, sitting on the beach, drinking a beer, responding to clients, or doing something that I actually enjoy. But the number one thing is I want to be able to live the van life that I've been setting myself up for and actually make money doing the things that I love. So travel is exactly what I love. So if you made it this far in the podcast, you're probably asking yourselves, how do I get to where I can travel full time, I can work online, I can do whatever I want whenever I want? And I'm going to go ahead and give you a few tips really quick as to what I've been doing in the past few months to get me where I am today. So the first thing is start where you are with what you have. If you have a phone, it has a high quality camera in it. You can actually make really good content. All of my videos that I make for TikTok, for Instagram, they are all done on my phone. I have a microphone for it. If I'm talking to the camera, I want to be able to hear myself from far away. So that's something you may invest in, but you don't need it. You have a camera. It has an actual microphone built into it. You can use that. If you feel like you need a big, massive camera, you better be the best photographer or videographer, because $6,000 for a camera does not cut it, and you're probably not going to pay yourself back for a while. And so my second tip is you should be using your 9 to 5, whatever it is, to fund your passion project. So if your passion project is traveling, you have no money for it, your 9 to 5 is supposed to be making you money in order to get you there. So once you can figure out how to save a couple $100 here and there to put it towards your passion project, that passion project will eventually make you money. Traveling can make you money. When you go traveling, make a bunch of content. So batch it all together. Just get an absurd amount of stuff. Bring a bunch of different clothes so it doesn't look like you were there the same day over and over and over and over again. Take a bunch of videos, take a bunch of pictures, something that you can last for the next 30 to 60 days of just content from there. It's basically a work trip. It will feel like work, but you're passionate about it, so you should be having fun with it, right? So that's what kind of I did when I went to Hawaii the second time. I made a ton of content, made a bunch of really cool videos, made all sorts of things. But you want to know how I did it? I hiked 4 mountains in one day. I wore multiple sets of clothes to do it. I went surfing every single day. I have 6 pairs of board shorts I would switch into. I did everything that I could in a short amount of time, and then enjoyed the last 3 days of just relaxing, which I still got content there, sipping some drinks on the beach, going to some of the bars in the area, testing out some of the foods. You can do all this in a short amount of time. That way you can enjoy your vacation. So that's tip number 2. Make sure that your 9 to 5 is funding your passion project so that someday your passion project can fund your life. And a third and final tip for the day is do not compare yourself to anyone on social media, because that is when you start losing. You'll lose yourself because you have 1,000 followers, someone else has 100,000 followers, and you get upset about it, and then you quit. The only thing you need to do is think of it as a horse. They put blinders on it because they're not even worried about the things next to them, because they want to be a straight and narrow path towards success. So if you have 100,000 followers, great. If you have 500,000, it doesn't matter as long as you are doing you the best you can. So be authentic, be you, and have fun doing it. All right, y'all, that is it for episode 1. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, you can find me on the socials at kyles.vanlife if you want to follow me there. Also, here in the next week, we're going to be having a special guest, which is going to come in. We'll talk about their life, some of the things that they do, what they do financially to be traveling full-time, and all of that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I will see you in the next episode.